Today, in this video, we are going to talk about UK retail sales fallen so much. So before starting this video, please like this video and subscribe to our channel for future updates. Why have UK retail sales fallen so much, and what could happen if the market does not recover? The UK economy will have to brace itself for a harsh winter. The pound has just hit a new low against the dollar for the first time in 37 years. Fears of an economic recession in the UK have increased significantly over the past month, following a series of unfortunate events, reports, and macroeconomic changes.
And staying with the Britain here, shoppers have cut back their spending for third month in a row. While the British Retail Consortium says sales volume declined the most since COVID pandemic hit them. It says people are now opting for cheaper alternatives while cutting back on purchases of big appliances like dishwashers and refrigerators. Retail outlets and online stores are both reporting a slump in sales. Now, inflation in UK is at 40-year high level. The May figures stood at 9.1%. Bank of England Central Bank has warned inflation may hit 11% this year.
Rishi Sunak announced this week that the government will change its approach to reducing the country's debt. Experts say the Prime Minister's approach could work, but on better terms, more or less. What the government seems to be ignoring is the main problem: the sharp fall in retail sales and the continuing decline in the value of the pound against the dollar. In the light of recent events, traders have mixed views on the government's ability to tame the inflation rate of the last 40 years. The Consumer Price Index in the UK and the Eurozone generally rises by an average of 10% in August. According to the most recent local retail financial report, higher energy and food prices have caused a state of decline in retail sales. September gross sales have posted at the lowest level for the first time since the lockdown of the COVID pandemic. The UK Pound Moving Average Index is between a long-term declining trend and a short-term increasing trend, and the odds say that it will crash if the government does not find a solution at the nearest time possible.
UK retail sales dropped sharply in March as the rising cost of living hit consumer spending. That's according to official data out today. The volume of retail sales fell far more than predicted, with online sales hit particularly hard as consumers reined in discretionary spending on luxuries and other non-essential items. Why? Because as the prices of food and fuel have skyrocketed, buying the basics now takes up an ever-rising share of household incomes. Retail sales in the UK fell no less than 1.4% in March compared to the previous month, and within that total, online sales were hit particularly hard, falling 7.9% compared to February, as consumers tightened their belts. These downbeat numbers are a clear sign high inflation is now translating into a serious economic slowdown. And as the cost of living squeeze gets tighter, household energy bills rising in April and tax rises kicking in, retail sales are likely to fall even more.
So to put some numbers into perspective, here is what the data says. For the first time in 37 years, the pound fell to its lowest level against its peer, the US dollar. To understand why the pound fell and its effects on the retail market and the whole economy, we need to move back to August.
Today's news is going to be very tough for families with mortgages up and down the country, for businesses with loans. But there is a global economic crisis. The IMF, the International Monetary Fund, say a third of the world's economy is now in recession. And the best thing the government can do if we want to bring down these rises in interest rates is to show that we're bringing down our debt. Families up and down the country have to balance their accounts at home, and we must do the same as a government.
In August, the US economy and people who were interested in the country's financial state were shocked by two reports. First, the government's Prime Minister announced the mini-budget plan which we are now facing in some sense. And the second one is the report that the US Bank released, which included that the pound is losing its confidence. These two reports were such a red flag for investors and traders as well. Over the past month, the market experienced a pound sell-off, which caused a further decline in its value. As we head into a harsh winter, one of the coldest winters the world will experience for the first time in 100 years. Consumer priorities have shifted from non-essential spending to surviving spending. This has led to poor results in retail gross sales for 2 consecutive months. After increasing to 4.9%, retail sales declined to 2.8% by the end of the 4th week in September.
But the evidence is very clear that there is a very significant UK component to this and that your party bears responsibility for this.
Well, on the steps of Downing Street, the Prime Minister recognised that and said that he was there to fix that. And when I became Chancellor, within a couple of days, I reversed the measures in the mini-budget. So we're taking the difficult decisions. At the top of our mind are families, businesses, people who are worried about jobs, about bills to pay. We want to do what we can to help them, but we recognise the biggest single thing we can do is to help the Bank of England bring down inflation. And the bank is taking its measures, which it's announced today, but the government also has to play our part by producing national accounts that balance so that we can show people that in the end we have sound money in this country, we're bringing down debt.
The most declines were in the 4th week, when the UK grieved for the passing of the past Queen, Elizabeth. Some say that in that week, most people were concerned about the country's future and the power transition. Yet the sector saw the same problem in the previous month. The retail market ended the month with just 3.9%. It peaked in the first 2 weeks. But as we see, the results were somehow disappointing by the end of the month. In addition, the sectors have seen a noticeable increase in product prices since the pound's value is much lower compared to the euro and the dollar. Most of their imported products are priced in euros and dollars, so losing their value against them will only cause a firestorm in retail prices. So, what will happen if the retail market goes down, crashes, or shrinks? In best conditions, if the retail market is down, this will turn negative for the stock market. Typically, a strong retail market supports and boosts stock prices. However, if the sector falls and the currency value is downgrading, the GDP of the country is more likely to follow the same downtrend. In a simpler world, it's an economic doomsday, and the market will crash. So this is our today's video. If you like my video, don't forget to subscribe to my channel or hit the bell icon. We will meet again with another interesting topic. Till then, stay safe and stay happy.